starting the Ezra Shem Siman Chaf Tes and Al haGuela. And we're still talking about Parshas Ba'aloischa here, where the Zekanim were among those who asked for the basar, for the meat. And now he's explaining why. Even the greatest of the Jews, even though they desired it for good reasons, for good, when they ate from the meat, they were punished. Like it says in the parsha, when as soon as the meat touched their teeth, they died in the makkah. So why were they punished if they wanted it l'shem shemaim? So he says, because they joined up with the erev. So even though they wanted it for good reasons, but since they were mixed with them, they joined up with them. In the open, to the world, there was no difference between them. It looked like there was no difference. Inside, you're right, they had these thoughts. We want to get close to Hashem, we want to have meat so that we can be poirish from it. But outside, they just said the same words as the erev. They said, Mi achilenu basar. Vayashuvu vayivku gam b'nei Yisrael vayomer mi achilenu basar. The Yidden all cried out and they said, who could give us meat? Shagam heim bachu. Even the greatest, the Sanhedrin also cried. They also complained. They also had a desire. Even the good Jews ate the meat. Despite the fact that they were warned, that they were warned in verse 3 that Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, you should know when you eat this meat, Hashem is going to be angry at you. Even though they had a different intent, the Hevdel Rav Beineim, they had a big separation between them. The Zekanim wanted it for a good reason. They cried for the sake of heaven. They ate the meat with kedusha. Rebbe's like making fun of the Kabbalim and Hasidim. They eat misakin the nitzotzes. They want to do Kabbalistic intentions by eating. But still, the Maisa they were eating. It could be that the mistake that the Sanhedrin made was they thought they knew Moshe warned them not to eat the meat and that it would be a sin to eat it, but since they thought they're doing it for the good reasons, therefore there's no avera. Just like today, people think if they go to the state of Israel and they build it up for good reasons, they think that they're doing it for good. They think, okay, we're being machshir now. Whatever they designed us did was wrong, okay, but right now we're making it good. Even though Moshe warned them not to eat the quail, they're going to get punished. They thought although that is only said for the people that wanted it for bad reasons. Sure, it's the name of we want it for the service of Hashem, then nothing will happen to us. But the real truth is, no. That joining with the Rishonim, even if you don't do what they do, it's as if you did what they did. Even if you have a good intention. Even if you don't do what they do, the famous Avos of Nasan that we always quote, Perek Lamed, Rabbi Kiva Omer, Kol HaMedabek be'oivre aveira, anyone who joins up with the oivre aveira, Afa Pishalei Osik Ma'aseim, even if he doesn't do what they do, he just joins them, Harez them Ekabel Puranius Kayotze Bohem, he gets the same punishment as them. The Kol HaMedabek be'oisei mitzvah, and conversely, it's also true, if they join those who do a mitzvah, Afa Pishalei Osik Ma'aseim, even if he doesn't do what they do, Harez them Ekabel Schar Kayotze Bohem, he also gets schar. That once this happened with the meat, when they asked for meat, all the Jewish people made the mistake because first the erev wanted it, then the Sanhedrin joined in the call, and then the rest of the people, when they saw the Sanhedrin eating it too, the Samach Mem, the Satan, confused them. They saw the Sanhedrins also on the same side of this fight with the erev. They didn't realize that they had good thoughts. Some of them may not have believed. They might have not believed that they had any different intention. They might have thought the Sanhedrin means the same thing as the erev. Just like someone looks at these people who are voting in the Zionist election, they say, you know what, they mean the same as Bibi Netanyahu. They're joining his party, right? So maybe they mean the same thing as him. They also want to conquer Eretz Yisrael Bizman Hazeh. Right? But this was just the Yetzer Hara's confusion of the Jews. His hasasa is like inciting. His incitement of them. Sha'amar lahem, he said to them, look, gamak sheim k'moischem, the kavanasam shava. Even the ksheim are doing the same thing as you. Even the good Jews are doing the same thing. And they have the same intent. B'al yidei zeh ta'u. Because of this, the rest of Klal Yisrael made a mistake. V'hudchu kol Yisrael. They were all convinced to do it. V'nenshu be'oinish mar. Rachmana litzlan. They had this bitter punishment. That they ate the meat and they died. So now let's go back to the pasuk before. The pasuk before said that when Hashem said to Moshe first, before he actually brought the meat, before he brought the birds, he said to Moshe, look, I'm going to bring birds for them and they're going to eat for 30 days. So Moshe said to Hashem some very puzzling words. He said, is so much meat going to be slaughtered for them? Are they going to get so much sheep and cattle to eat? How could you feed so many people? There's 600,000 people here. So all the Mefarshim ask, how did Moshe Rabbeinu ask that question? How could Moshe Rabbeinu not believe that Hashem has the power to give all these people food? So he's going to go with the Maharal. The Maharal in Gur Aryeh explains that B'derech Tefillah Amar Kein. Moshe was speaking as a prayer, and he wasn't asking Hashem, how could you do that? He believes Hashem could do it, but he's asking, please don't do it. He said, Ki loy nistapek Moshe Rabbeinu chas v'shalom. Moshe didn't have any doubts that Hashem has the ability to supply all this food miraculously. V'yaf gam b'derech mikra u'melubash b'teva. And even if Hashem's going to give it in a way that doesn't look like an open miracle, it looks like it just happened. It just happened that the wind came up and blew the birds from the ocean and brought them onto the midbar. Mulubash b'teva, it's enclosed in disguised as nature, but it's still karav l'neis. It's still similar to a miracle because it happened just at the right time. K'derech shechas Ramban zal. Both of these ways were no good. Not a real nes and not even karav l'neis. Why? If Hashem produces a real miracle, maybe charoin af, the ketzef, Rahman al-Islam. It's going to cause, chas v'shalom, it's going to cause anger against the Yidden. Kamash Kosev Maharal Zal. Shakadosh Baruch Hu kois al Rashaim shematrichim lefanav v'nasoisem es Hashem lasos lahem nisim. Hashem is angry when Rashaim, so to speak, force him to do a nes. They put themselves into a matzav where, look, they made all the Arabs angry and they maybe attacked them first also, and now they need a nes to save them. Hashem's angry at them for that. Even if it's not a real nes, but it's just something that's natural, that's similar to a nes, yesh sakana. It's still dangerous. Sheyitu al yadoi, that they're going to make a mistake. Shakadosh Baruch Hu maskim l'rishasim. It's going to look like Hashem agrees to the Rishaim. Kamash kasav nuleil. Yakein hispalo. Therefore, Moshe davened sheyiyeh b'derech hateva legamri. He said, you know what? You want to feed the people? Feed them in a completely natural way. It shouldn't even look like a nes. They shouldn't have any suffix about it. It shouldn't look like they're being saved by a nes. Okay? And in our case, that would be, let's say, America intervenes, puts a flotilla of ships, opens the Straits of Tiran, makes sure that the war shouldn't happen. They have a diplomatic mission, the UN gets involved and whatever, and there's no war. Right? That would be B'derech HaTeva, and it wouldn't even be Karvel HaNes. So Moshe, when he's davening to Hashem, he didn't see how it could happen. He said, look, Derech Nes, I don't want. Karav L'Nes, I also don't want. Derech HaTeva I would want, except I don't see any way to get it done that way. You have so many people here in the midbar and you're going to feed them meat for 30 days? No. Derech HaTeva I don't see any way. Derech HaTeva mamash loy ra oifen eich sheyitem lahem v'yaspik lahem. V'zehu shekasav Rashi b'shem haMedrash. Rashi says, "Me'achar shemevakshim alila lo yaspik lahem." Oh, so not that he doesn't see that any way in nature that they could have so much meat, but he said like this: "Ima tad noisin lahem baser behema gasa." If you're going to give them beef, then yoimru daka bikashnu, or whatever. You're going to give them from meat, beef, whatever, cows, right? Then they're going to say, "We wanted behema daka, we wanted sheep and goats." Or if you give them sheep and goats, they're going to say, "Dagim v'chagavim bikashnu." We wanted fish and we wanted grasshoppers. So basically, they're never going to be happy. So Hareini hoylechum v'faistam. He says,
grasshoppers doesn't sound.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. But in those days, they ate it. So Hareini hoylechum v'faistam. So Moshe says to the Eibishter, "I'm going to go speak to the Yidden. Don't worry. Don't give them anything." He didn't want Hashem to give it to them in a way that's similar to a nace. That's going to cause a danger. So Hashem answered back, "No. Now you will see if my words come true or not." He said the Yidden aren't going to listen to you. They're going to say that the hand of Hashem is too short. That I can't provide it b'derech nes. Therefore I have to provide it to them. Even though it's going to come out a danger of a mistake, that they could think Hashem agrees to them. But they shouldn't say that Hashem's hand is too short to provide it. So you see the same thing today, right? The Zionists put themselves in a matzav where they needed a miracle to get out of it. Let's say, I don't know if the 6-day war was such a case. The Rebbe said many times earlier in the Sefer that it wasn't even, naturally speaking, that the Zionists had a much stronger army. They were going to win anyway. But let's say in the future sometime, he's talking in theory now, the Zionists put themselves in the matzav. 48 was a little bit more of a dangerous war for them than 67, especially at the beginning, because they weren't ready for it, and at the end they had much more ammunition, much more men. But at the beginning, there were some dangerous points, and so let's say the Zionists put themselves in the position. Ben Gurion didn't have to declare a state. That's one of the things that I brought. Even Reb David Cohen, in Flatbush. Mr. Shul in Flatbush, he said at the Torah Masorah convention, he said, "What are you celebrating?" The Torah Masorah convention is this convention with the day schools, and they discuss what day schools should do. So one of the questions was, should we say Hallel on Yom Ha'atzmaut? So David Cohen got up and said, Yom Ha'atzmaut is not a happy time. It's a time when 6,000 Jews got killed because of the war. Because Ben Gurion got up and declared war, and declared a state. Yeah. So what are you happy on Yom Ha'atzmaut? What are you saying Hallel for? You should say Kaddish maybe. You should say Kel Mali Rachamim, but don't say Hallel. And he said Ben Gurion didn't have to declare a state. It's really true. He didn't have to, right? He could have just continued with the British mandate, continued with the UN trusteeship. He didn't have to declare a state. Because he declared a state, that's why that war happened. So again, the Zionists put themselves in a matzav where Hashem has to intervene for their sake, b'derech nes. Hashem is angry about that. But he still intervenes because he doesn't want them to say Hayad Hashem Tiktzar. He doesn't want to say that he can't help them. So he intervenes, but he's angry at them for it. Okay? Al Kapanim Mivur B'Torah Akdoshim Miparshas Lav. We see from this whole story with the quail, Shenisim Hanasim L'Rishoim Mamshichim Charoin Af Gadol Al Yisrael. That nisim that happened for the wicked cause anger to come upon Klal Yisrael. K'masha Kosav B'Af Hashem Chara Ba'am. The anger of Hashem was kindled against the people. Ba'yach Hashem Ba'am Makar Rabba Moed. He smote them with a very great smiting. B'Achmon Litzlan. U'K'masha Kosav Amaral. B'Af L'Divrei Ramban. Shaloi Haya Slav B'derech Nes. Even if the Slav was not really a Nes, Elam Melubash B'Teva, it was just something that was disguised as nature, but it just happened to come at the right time. Since it was similar to a miracle, the Rishonim caused this thing that's close to a miracle to happen because they tested Hashem. Only evil can come out of evil people. V'tohu al yidei zeh kol beis Yisrael. All the Yidden were made a mistake based on that. V'garam hereg rav b'Yisrael. It caused a lot of Yidden to die. So the same thing today. If they test Hashem and something happens because of it, some kind of kar v'lanes happens, it can't be good. May Rashayim yetze Rasha. Come on, let's go on.